What's up, folks? Me and my dad here.
Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite games, Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo and Tooie.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the original for the Nintendo 64, and I'm also going to talk about the one on Rare Replay, which was originally released for Xbox 360.
I know we're talking about both.
Yeah, might as well. We just, so a few months ago, we played through most of it on Nintendo 64, maybe like 6 months ago, and then last weekend, we pretty much played all of it on the Rare Replay. So this is a game I bought right when it was brand new, and I really enjoyed it. I really like Rare games, and also I liked all the 3D platformers that were on like Nintendo 64. So this is one of the better ones. What are your thoughts on it before we get started?
So mine, my dad has more to say, and I'm not really great at playing it, but I like to watch my dad play it quite a bit. So it's a cool game, and then I like how also in some parts in each world it's Munjo. That's his name.
Mumbo Jumbo?
Yeah, Mumbo Jumbo. He could turn you into animals, and then there's a Halloween world, or you could turn into a pumpkin. My favorite world is the Halloween world.
Yeah, there's a lot of different worlds. Rare games are known for having a lot of charm, and this one's like the epitome of Rare games, in my opinion. This is if you're only going to play one, this is the one to really experience what makes what made them really great. Because all the characters, there's a lot of comedy in it. You might remember we talked about Conker's Bad Fur Day recently. We also talked about Rare and their kind of British humor. And it really shines here in a way that some of the Conker humor is too mature or kind of dated when it's old parodies of movies or things, whereas this one, it's all kind of timeless humor. And there's great music in it, very infectious music that once you hear it, you'll probably never forget it.
And there's puzzle pieces for each world. Each world, you collect 10 puzzle pieces. Wait, shouldn't we tell them the story of it first?
Not really, if you want to.
It's
like I said before, story's not important in old games. A witch kidnaps your sister, and you have to rescue her. Very, very typical for these kind of games. Sit up a little so you're in the camera.
Okay, so the two main characters is a bear, which is Banjo, and a bird, which is Kazooie. And then, there's a weird thing about it I noticed. So it seems like Banjo's a little more the main character because you're rescuing his sister and you see him more. And then, Kazooie, so Banjo wears a blue backpack on the back of him, but Kazooie stays in the backpack and never walks out of it. Just stays in it, and then some moves where he runs he's I don't know how to explain that move.
Well, there's a lot of different moves. That's one. So a lot of people compare this to Mario 64, and there's a lot of debate which one do you like better, and I think it's very close. I give the nod just slightly to Mario 64, but this one does a lot that Mario 64 didn't. Of course, this came after, but one of the biggest differences is you have a lot of moves in this game. So, like Ben was saying, you're a bear and a bird, and the two of them work together in a lot of ways. So, you can fly at points, you can shoot eggs, you can do different kinds of attacks. You can have a running kind of move.
We need to do a playthrough video where you could all see this.
Well, they could go play it, or I'm sure there's many that exist.
Play it.
Or we're trying to. You're getting us kind of sidetracked. We're here to give our thoughts on the game and share some memories about the game. That's what these are. That's why these are the thoughts and memories videos.
Okay.
It's not explain the game.
Explain the game.
Explain the game. One of the most famous games that you probably already know anyway. But some of the reasons I love the game, it's really fun exploring the witch's giant castle. It takes the idea from Mario 64 and amps it up because this place is just gigantic and there's a lot to see. It can be a pretty challenging game when you're first playing it and you don't know what to do. That's weird. Don't do that. But and I remember the game taking me a long time in the past, but this time I was able to play it
in 5 days.
No, it was less than that.
What? Like 3
Started
days?
it on basically 3 days.
Oh, you started it on Saturday, and then you finished it on
Monday.
What? Yeah.
Anyway, I'm pretty familiar with it now, but it's one of my go-to games that I go back to pretty regularly. But usually I wait long enough that I don't remember everything as well as I did here, since I had just played it 6 months prior. So this recent playthrough I did was on the Xbox One. So and the game wasn't made for Xbox One, though it was made for Xbox 360. And some of the major differences, well, first of all, your controller. So the Nintendo 64 controller was pretty divisive at the time and kind of weird. People, oh, do I need 3 hands? How do I do it? Well, no, you just hold it like this and this for 3D games.
I didn't like the controller that much, really, for Nintendo 64.
Well, I liked it. I still like it. I'm very used to it. But for this playthrough, we got to play on the Xbox One controller, which is pretty different, and
it's better
in some ways, for sure. Well, one of the biggest differences, it's got the double analog sticks, so that was helpful for camera purposes. And I was kind of thinking it was going to be hard to get used to the different control scheme just because I played it so many times, but after probably half hour of playing it, I was pretty used to it on here, and it felt good. In some ways, it felt a little easier to control and a little better. And just quickly, I'll cover some of the differences between these two versions. So, graphically, it's a little bit enhanced on here. It's widescreen. You could tell that things were cleaned up a little bit. Not overly, though. It's not like a totally redone HD version.
Yeah, I know one difference.
Well, I'm speaking about a difference.
I know one.
All right, what's your difference?
So, you collect, in each game, though, it's not you collect a lot of items in each world, but...
They call these kind of games collectathons.
That's weird. So, so when you collect them, in the old games, if you die, on that world, all the stuff you collect and, you have to do it all over again. But then, in, the Xbox One version, if it happens, it's still, all saved. So, just go do what you're doing again.
It's much, much easier. That is the biggest gameplay difference that I noticed that made the game kind of infinitely easier and in some ways more fun. It can get pretty stressful to collect everything on the Nintendo 64 version because, like Ben was saying, if you die, you start over, and each level has a number of things to collect.
The puzzles, the notes.
Well, those you don't lose all of if you die in the old one. The things that you lose are Jinjos that you have to collect. I think there's 5 in each level, which are little furry creatures that you're supposed to find. So if you find 4 and die in the old one, then you're out of luck. This time, that's not the case. There's a few other things, but the main thing to collect that's really hard is the music notes. There's 100 in each level. And one of the most frustrating, nerve-wracking, aggravating things about the original is on some of these later tough levels, and you're high up into like 90 something notes, and you're looking around, can't find the last couple, then something kills you. Particularly, there's the last 2 levels of the game. I pretty much love every world in the game except for the last 2. Rusty Bucket Bay, that one has a section where you have to go in an engine room, and it's one of the few parts of the game where there's a bottomless pit beneath you, and it's some pretty precision platforming, and you're also going on things that are spinning and moving around. So that part's pretty hard, and if you die, then you're gone. So there's things to collect in there. So that one I do not care for. That level, it was a lot better this time around because of what we mentioned. Then the final world I actually like. It's Click Clock Woods, but it is hard because it's the most vertical level because you're scaling a giant tree, and if you fall, it can take away a lot of health, so it's easy to die. And again, there's some pretty precision platforming where you're jumping from leaf to leaf or on branches or things high up in the tree. So not having the stress of knowing that you had to start over collecting those notes was a big weight off my shoulders this time around. That's kind of the only real negative knock I have on the original game, which is just something that we were used to at the time when games were a little bit tougher. Beyond that, the two versions are pretty much identical. Like I said, slight graphical upgrade. Textures look a little better. Things look a little better. The sprites look really good. Like the music notes and basically all the things you collect, the Mumbo tokens, those look fantastic. Kind of makes me want to see a whole game rendered that well. That'd be something to see. Yeah, it'd be nice to see the full game get an HD remake treatment, but it's just a little strange too. This is back when there's kind of a mix between sprite work and polygonal work, and it really stands out here because the things that are sprite based look so good, and the polygonal things still have kind of that sharp edge look to them. So what are some of your thoughts you want to share about the game?
It's like all cool because like you're figuring out puzzles and beating up bad guys, and then like each world like has like some of them have like time like places. Like one is like Egypt world, and like it's taking place in some different times. It seems like so like the Egypt world has mummies, and then it's cool 'cause like each world has like the bad guys that kind of match with the world, and then like it's cool 'cause like Munjo Jumbo, like when he turns you into like the thing that you're turning into, like in each world. Well, he's not in each world, but like he's in one world, not the next, and then the other worlds.
Yeah, pretty much every other world you get to turn into a new kind of creature.
Yeah, but then like it kind of helps you do some things like in that world, and then you go like turn into things, help you like get into places that like when you're regular Banjo-Kazooie, like where you can't go, and like find secrets. But if you go out of the world and you get too far, you have to turn back into Banjo-Kazooie.
There's a lot to see and do. If you play it, and it's your first time playing it, or you hadn't played in a long time,
Watch a video.
I'd say the exact opposite. Don't watch a video. Try to figure it out for yourself. Have fun and try to explore the world and learn it. You'll remember it better that way. You'll feel more rewarded. It'll be more fun for you. Don't be impatient like Bennett and always need to check videos.
What's your favorite world on there?
My favorite world?
Mine is the haunted worlds.
Mad Monster Mansion. That's a very good one. That one is great because it's got the fantastic kind of Halloween vibe. I really like that one. That's a lot of fun. The first one, I think it's Mumbo's Mountain. That one's pretty good too. There's not really a bad world in the game. They're all fun. Just Rusty Bucket Bay can be a little frustrating for me because it's the one that I have kind of the most trouble with. But
yeah,
and it's still not a bad world. There's none that I would say aren't fun to play. And there's a great variety in the worlds.
Yeah, and then the Bucket Bay one, what's it called?
Rusty Bucket Bay.
Yeah, so like the part that seemed kind of hard on there was like the part where like you're like falling the like pit part in the engine, And it seems like the hardest part of the game for sure. And then what I like about that world is that you're on the boat, and I like boats.
Yeah, and then there's another beach one as well.
Yeah, and then there's one bad guy, and that's like a pipe, and then it turns to life sometimes. It's kind of surprising, though, because there's some you could go in and some you can't, but it's kind of annoying, though, because, like, you might think now, like, you could go in now, and so when you go walk by it already, right away, they just hurt you, like, you don't even know, so, like...
Well, it happens one time, then you learn to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. It's a game full of fun surprises and fun exploration.
Yeah.
And holds up really well. Still one of my favorites. Aside from just a very few small parts where you have to be really, really specific with your jumping, I don't think it's overly hard. And I think it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Still one of my favorites. Still one I'd highly recommend. It's got such great charm, it's such great fun. The controls are just fantastic. The characters are all fun. The music's wonderful. The sound is funny. The way characters speak, I know Bennett didn't love it, but I still think it's really funny.
Oh, a few of them are kind of funny. No, now we need to sing our song. It's the song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends. Sing with me.
No.
Some
Cover your
people
ears.
started singing it, not knowing what it was, but they'll continue singing it forever, just because this is a song that never ends.
Okay, we got
Yes,
it.
it goes on and on, my friends.
No, we're not gonna keep
Some
going, right?
people started singing it, not knowing what it was, but they'll continue singing it forever.
Okay.
Just because this is a song
No,
that never
No, you're not
ends.
gonna. This is the joke's done, right?
It goes on.
Nah.
Well, I'm off to go play some Banjo-Kazooie. Bye. Banjo-Kazooie.
Bye.